Cooking is an act of love, but also for us, it's an act of resistance. Hi, I'm Olia Hercules. I'm a British-Ukrainian chef and cookbook author, and today I'm going to show you how to make an amazing traditional Ukrainian Christmas bread called kolach. So, I've got 100 mils of water here, and I'm going to add my dried yeast. I've got 7 grams of dried yeast, but you can use 15 grams of fresh yeast. Just going to give it a little bit of a stir. You can actually leave it for a bit as well, just to check that the yeast is active, or you can just go straight in and hope for the best. I've also got my pumpkin puree. All right, pumpkin puree goes in. I've just roasted 200 grams of pumpkin, but you can boil it or steam it, whatever you like. It just needs to be cooked and pureed into a smooth kind of paste. And then we're just mixing that through. I was born and grew up in the south of Ukraine, in the Kherson region, in a town called Kakhovka. And I grew up among this massive sky and huge yellow fields of sunflowers and wheat. And I'd heard the expression, Ukraine is the breadbasket of Europe, quite a lot. And I guess it made sense, but what I didn't know was that Ukraine is actually the breadbasket of a much wider world. So water, pumpkin, yeast. Then we're gonna add the sugar, 150 grams of custard sugar, and a little bit of vanilla. Mix that through. A bit of salt. A little bit more. So all of our wet ingredients are in, apart from the eggs. We're going to crack a couple of eggs in. And break them in as well. And finally, super Christmassy orange. We're going to put the zest in. Smells amazing. "90% of Ukrainian wheat exports used to go to countries in Asia and Africa, and to those countries these exports were particularly important." And now for the flour, which we're going to just literally dump in. Give it all a good stir. Once the dough has risen, take your soft butter and just start squashing it in. You can use a machine, but actually I find this quite therapeutic. Russia has been using food as a weapon in their war in Ukraine. They have been blockading and bombing ports, and they've been attacking ships that carry the grain from Ukraine to the wider world. Ukrainian grain and produce flowing out of Ukraine freely is very important because it helps keep the world food prices stable and also helps vulnerable communities all over the world. Once we've added the butter and it hung around for about an hour, our dough is ready and doubled in size. Okay, so the dough is coming out on a lightly floured surface. Look how fluffy it is. It's looking really good. We'll give it a quick knead. This Ukrainian recipe is quite an ancient one, actually. Kolach comes from the word kolo, which is circle, and also the sun. By cooking this recipe today and encouraging you to cook it too, I want to keep the Ukrainian spirit alive. Okay, and then we're going to divide it into 4 pieces. So in half, and then each half in half again. It's going to be a little bit sticky here, but don't worry. Just roll it in a bit of flour and give each piece a little bit of a knead again. It smells amazing. One of my very good friends from my hometown Kachovka, Katra Kalužna, gave me this recipe. She's a professional baker, and unfortunately, just like my parents, she also had to leave my hometown, which is still occupied by Russian forces. Every time I make this recipe, I feel really connected to my friend, to my hometown, and to my home region of Kherson. Cooking has always been my superpower. But after the large-scale invasion in 2022, I lost it for at least 3 months. I couldn't eat and I couldn't cook. But slowly, as time went on, I picked up my flour and sunflower seeds and rolling pin and started cooking again. So first of all, you've rolled your kind of like long dough sausages and you've clipped them all together on top, and now we're going to weave it and turn it into a beautiful plait. So I'm going to go over and then under and then over and then under like this, and I'm going to keep going from the right. I'm going to go over and under and over and then again. Just keep alternating and plaiting like this. And traditionally in Ukraine we have 12 dishes on Christmas Eve, and the dishes are mostly vegetarian, with maybe the main of roasted fish or something like that, and maybe oil it as well. We've got oil there. All right, cool. So we've got this. I'm going to put a little bit of semolina or polenta over so it doesn't stick. You ready? I'm going to lift it up and put it on the tray. And then I've got a ramekin that's been oiled so it doesn't get stuck. And then we're just going to bring it together here and pinch. And we're going to leave it to prove for at least half an hour. Glaze it and put some beautiful sunflower and pumpkin seeds and poppy seeds on top. And in Ukraine we would eat it as it is with a cup of tea, but I know that my British husband would for sure put some cream on it or some jam or something like that, and that's fine. So the bread is ready, beautiful and golden. And if we break a little bit off, look at this beautiful texture and color from the pumpkin, and it is absolutely delicious. It's really good. By cooking this recipe today and encouraging you to cook it too, I want to keep the Ukrainian spirit alive.